We've talked about things that fans can do, things that shops can do. So, what about the creators? What can they do?
Hey there, this is Perch. I did a video. I've done a couple ones about what can fans do for comics. What are some things fans can do for themselves, to help stay sane, but also to kind of how do you influence, how do you get either your book or a book you like out? How can the fans contribute in some way? And these videos are always, it's funny because they do really well. People like them. I look at the retention. People stay to the end. There's always like a small handful, like two or three people who come in there and they downvote. They're like, no, I refuse to do anything but loudly shout about how the SJWs are killing comics. Okay. And it's fine if that again. Look, you. If that works for you and you feel better, then hey, you keep shouting, man. Just go to town. But for the rest of the world, what are some things fans can do to where actually where there could be some momentum, where they can actually make some change. But I want to do this video from the other perspective. So this is the perspective of what can the creators do beyond just making amazing comics. Look, if you make a really great comic with good art and good story and good plot and it's on time and it ships and you don't scream at fans and then A+ job. You're doing a good job. That's just keep doing that. But further than that, what can creators do? Because I do know there's some creators who listen, and I appreciate it, and I get some very nice comments. Thank you. I know that there are people out there, but what can creators do to help the industry? And I'll first say, as a creator, if you're working in comics, i.e., you're trying to get money out of comics, then it's in your best interest to, for it to work. It's better for you if things go well. You want things to go well because then you're going to keep getting money, and if things go really good, the industry grows, and you get to have more profit and more money, and you get money making comics, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing that you can get paid to do this cool job of making comics. So we want this to happen. We all want this to happen. But what else can you do? Well, I mean, here's some things that kind of outside of the norms. Here's some things that I think you can do, because there are several creators who fall kind of in the weird middle, and these are the creators that have anywhere between kind of 1,000 and 10,000 followers on Twitter, and they're like, but here's the kind of mega stars. Here's the people who have 100,000 or more. What can those people do, both to raise their profile, but also kind of build a community? And again, building a community is building strength, and building strength equals building profit. So we want to build a community. So one of the first things I would say is, and I know this is just dumb, obvious advice, but try to not go so hard in the paint. Is that a word? Hard in the paint, hard in the sand? I don't know. There's a lot of different regions have different ways this slogan works. I guess the right way to say it would be, don't become don't become that guy, that woman who tweets every single day, multiple times, about a politician. Just don't be that person. And good life advice in general. By the way, this is good for anyone, not just creators. But don't be that person who becomes a one note creator. And it's an easy trap to fall into, because if you post these things and then you get like the same 40 people or so come along and like your tweet or your Facebook post or whatever, then you're like, oh, okay, what's a safe way to always get 40 likes? To post this, this comment about politics. Nobody's saying you should get into politics, and I think a creator who steps in every now and then, I think Brad Edward Hill does a good job of stepping in and out of politics pretty gracefully. And there are always going to be the lunatic fans. There's one lunatic fan who just, like, Hill is one of the nicest guys on Twitter, but this one fan's like, nope, you're saying the wrong things politically. I'm just going to go at you. You can't even disagree respectfully. But regardless, be more like that guy. Just post every now and then. Post a bunch of things. Don't become a one note anything, whether it's politics or it's pictures of your food or whatever you happen to be doing. Just Spread it out a little bit. Just spread it out. You become known for only one thing, and that one thing is not comics. Then you're going to tap out with your growth, and you're not bringing anything new to anything. The other thing I would say, probably better advice is let us know how you're thinking. Not a lot of creators don't do this. It's like you have a big story you do, or you have some art that you made, or you have a new costume you designed, or you have whatever. Let us know, what were you thinking. Give us some background. When an issue of yours comes out, walk us through it. Tell us what led you to do this. What music did you listen to? What influences did you have? People liked hearing that stuff. They like knowing the backgrounds of what was going on. It's fun reading, so to speak. So that's great stuff. What art influenced you? What background reading is good for getting the most out of this comic you just wrote? All this stuff is cool stuff, and people like it. So try it. Yeah, the other thing I'd say, and this is harder. This one requires some nuance, but I really, if nothing else, I beg of you, try this one on. Try retweeting or replying or getting involved in a conversation with someone who disagrees with you or with someone who you disagree with, and do it in a normal, not crazy lunatic person way. Now, this is going to be very, very difficult because a lot of people communicate only in crazy lunatic ways. So you're going to get a lot of misfires here. And so maybe the right answer is find a handful of people out there who will not act like a crazy a-hole when you disagree with them, and have chats every now and then. Retweet what they say every now and then. That's another thing you can do. And I think that is the fastest way to gain credibility and value in the community of, and to build, more importantly, build a community, is to go in there and you have somebody and they're talking about something, some issue, some whatever, and jump in and just say, hey, I don't agree. Here's my perspective. And then be ready, because a lot of people, they immediately put their fists up. Be ready, just come back and get some answer back like, well, screw you. But chances are, and this is why I think it's important creators do this, chances are many of the people who come back to you will be somewhat respectful, because there's this built-in kind of natural instinct to want to talk nicer to a creator. You're in the business. And so people, some people, like I said, there's the lunatic guy who always goes after Hill, but some people will, almost everybody will pull their punch. They're not going to come back really hard at you. They're going to say, hey, a creator's stepping into something. Because the reality is, most of your peers, most of the other creators are only talking, and they're only replying or retweeting with people who agree with them wholeheartedly or are complete sycophants. A bunch of the creators do this. They will only engage with people who just kiss up. And the secret is, for the people who watch that, they just think that creator's ego is really, really, really shallow, or not. Their feelings are so shallow that they can only correspond with people who agree entirely with them. That's what everybody thinks. That's how it looks, and they think less of that creator as a result. And you may say, "Oh, who cares what they think?" Well, you're losing the respect of the middle. You're losing respect of the silent people who just think you're kind of shallow and petty. So jump in there and retweet and talk to somebody who's helping, or who's willing to have a normal conversation, not necessarily helping. Just jump in there, talk to somebody who you don't agree with. Just start a dialogue. You'd be surprised, and because you have this power of your title and your role and who you are in your company, you have this ability to maybe lessen the anger. And so if you come in, I disagree, and here's why, and here's my thoughts on it, and the other person comes in maybe a little defensive, but kind of taken off guard because they're not used to a creator stepping in and talking to the normal folks, you'll probably get at least a half decent response back, and just come in and go, hey, cool, we have our differences. You'll be amazed at how many fans you will pick up. And that's the sad part about comics. This is why the advice to creators, if you just do even the most minimal outreach to people, the most smallest of olive branches out to the community, you will have a legion of fans. Look at Sean Gordon Murphy of a creator, and he's done more than just a small olive branch. But the guy did mostly talk about his own work, said thank you to people. That was his big, his big crime. He said thank you to some of the wrong people, and then a bunch of his peers went after him. But just doing almost nothing, but the bare minimum gets you thousands of fans. And you might say, I don't want those fans. Those fans are horrible, awful people. Oh, yeah, no, but you want, yeah, look, here's the dirty secret. And you're just, I know this goes against everything they teach you in art school. And God knows, I've done art. Obviously, people know I do art. I have lots of creative friends. I understand how what I'm about to say will just send that ugly shiver down your spine. But here's the secret: you need their money. That's right. Even the baddies, you need their money. Goodies and baddies, you need all of their money. It's true. Look, I mean, think about as owning a shop. I want the people to come in and buy stuff and leave. I want to have a conversation. It's not like just get out, but fundamentally, what I want them to do is to come in, make a transaction, go. And so, um, you know how you remember that scene in Unbreakable where Bruce Willis he can kind of sense things from people. He when he touches them, he can get kind of a little flash of what they're thinking or what they're up to or kind of their history. And he goes into, I think, Grand Central Station in New York. He goes into this train station. And he just kind of spreads his arm a little bit, and there's this kind of heroic moment because it's him taking on the mantle of being a hero. But these people are passing by him, and he's getting these little flashes and these little brushes of their stories, and he's getting awful, like he's seeing like what looks like a date rape and just some ugly, domestic violence, some just ugly things in these people, and you get a sense of like this, oh my god, these are just look like ordinary people walking around, but they're carrying these dark secrets, and eventually he finds like somebody who's a full blown serial killer, and follows them and kind of rights the wrong. But the point I'm trying to make here is remember that scene. Remember how they had all these ordinary people, but lift underneath the cover, and there's a bunch of kind of nasty things that are going on. Well, the reality is, if you work in a shop, if you work in a business, there's going to be lots of people coming in to buy your stuff, and some of those people are going to be wonderful people. The people who I found are the nicest people are the ones who don't brag about it. They give to charity and they help out, and maybe it's small things. Maybe they just don't, block the crosswalk with their car when things are gridlocked. Maybe they, gave somebody a chance in a job. Maybe somebody messed up that they had some authority over, and instead of getting them fired, they decided to give them a second chance, and it worked out. There's lots of ways, millions and millions of ways that people help each other all the time. And conversely, there's millions of lousy things people do, from little things like, somebody who shoplifted something to, much, much worse, horrible things. But you don't know this. This is the people coming in are going to be all of these things blended together. And you can't sit there and have like a magical metal detector over your door that's going to just let the good people in and keep the bad people out. That's Unfortunately, that's true. Look, trust me, if I actually could have one of those devices, I would love it. I would love to be able to say, all right, you person who's, doing, has part of been a perpetrator of domestic violence or abuse for your kids or those kinds of things. I mean, yeah, yes, I would love to have an automatic button I could push that would send them down into a chute and off across the street into the dumpster. Sure, why not? But that is not reality. So all kinds of people are coming and buying your stuff. And the reality is, unless you have Bruce Willis unbreakable powers, you don't know what's in these people's hearts. And the second you try and figure that out on your own through, God help you, Twitter, you become one of the baddies yourself. You're not meant to be. You're not meant to be God in the sense. You're not meant to be this person. You're meant to come and do the best you can with what you got. And what you got is you're creating a product and you're selling it, and you're going to sell it to all different people. And so the reality is you need lots of people. You need to sell to everyone, all the people. And you can't get in the way of trying to kind of super describe your audience. You've got to have some, and I say this as a guy, person who I am, you have to have some faith that these things are going to work out. And if you are put in a position to, punish somebody for their crimes, like you're a police officer and you are called to a house where something horrible is going on, then yeah, now you are in the position to, put out some justice. Now you are in the position to right a wrong. If you are in a house and you hear bad sounds from next door, the next door apartment, be a hero, go in there, help. But in terms of creating your work and selling it to people, it is not your job to try and pre-guess who the goodies are and who the baddies are. You just need to sell to everyone. So my advice is, and sorry this video is long, got way into the weeds on it, but my advice is simply, create, try and have a broad audience, do the smallest possible olive stick out. When if you're really frustrated and angry with Comicsgate or some hashtag, then find the people who are still trying to make a contribution, who are not necessarily trying to suck up to you, and promote them. Make your bubble bigger by inviting new people in. That's the big folly of block bots and all the rest, is all you're shrinking, not growing. You're shrinking. And even if you look at it and like, oh, but what are you talking about? I got 100,000 followers. That's great. Most of them are bots. Sorry, it's true. Or they are just complete sycophants who are out for the little happy knot. You're not growing the community any. There's lots of people who invest themselves in the community. We need to grow it. You need to grow it. And yes, it is your responsibility as a creator, as somebody working in this business. It is your responsibility to help grow it. It's not your responsibility to go and have fun little Twitter wars, unless that's just who you want to be. In which case, you're not a creator and you're not in the business. I know you may have your name on some comics, but if your primary function is to go and kind of troll people, you're not a creator anymore. You're a troll. Sorry, it's true. Anyway, that's my advice. We're all trying to figure it out on this planet. We're all just trying to figure out what we're supposed to do with each other, and it's complicated. And we have our ups and our downs and all the rest. But as creators, as people who are in this business, recognize you have a position that a lot of people covet, that a lot of people are really envious of. You're making comics and getting paid for it. That's super cool. And just, every now and then take a breath, look in the mirror, remember, you're doing something pretty awesome that a lot of other people want to do. And so maybe it's your turn to give that person their second chance. Maybe it's your turn to, help grow things rather than shrink. Bring somebody over. There's a creator, very popular writer, good guy, had this statement of, I asked why do you reach out? Said, look, if 5 times I reach out and I get some crazy, nasty response back, yeah, I can block 5 people or I can mute 5 people. But if I get one person, if for every 5 people that kind of turn rabbit on me, I get one person that you know I can kind of have a good dialogue with, and to convince them that no, not we're not all, it's not us against them. We're willing to listen. If I can convince one person, it's worth the 5. In fact, it's worth 20. It's worth it because that's +1 to the community. If I didn't try at all, it would be +0 or worse, negative. So it's worth it. It's worth it to find the good people in life, in comics, and social media, wherever you happen to be. It's worth it. And I guess one other thing, if you're a creator, please don't welch on your commitments. Like if you tell a shop that you're going to show up next week and do a signing, and that shop does some promotion for you, and then you back out the last minute with some kind of half excused, half baked phone call, and then you joke with your buddies on Facebook about it, not realizing that the store is seeing you. Don't do that either. That's a jerk move. Anyway, leave a comment. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and yeah, thanks for listening.